Okay. So it looks like we have 3 attendees, including everyone here. Once again, apologies everyone for the mix-up of times and everything.
Things happen.
Yes. People are people. But for now, for those who are on Zoom, just to let you know, the 300-foot notice that was sent via mail does say 7 p.m. So the 7 p.m. meeting will say the official results of the hearing and everything. But for now, since we have everyone here and everyone on Zoom, we're going to go ahead and get everyone's comments. So good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. The applicant, Mary, and I, Michaela O'Brien, the zoning administrator, are going to present today. So the meeting for the morning session is now open. Welcome to City of Santa Fe Zoning Administrator meeting October 4th. Zoning Administrator hearing. On today's agenda is a request for a conditional use permit to allow for a 1,161 square foot animal care facility of dog training within an existing office building. Mary, would like you to present your proposal?
Yes, absolutely. So hello, my name is Mary Dormady, formerly Mary Stomp, which is on some of the notices and paperwork because I just recently changed my name after getting married in April. I'm the owner of Mary's Angels Dog Training. I opened Mary's Angels Dog Training in August of 2017 with a dream to help as many dogs as possible stay safe and loved in their homes. If a dog is well behaved and well trained, it is less likely to end up in a shelter or stray on the streets. If a dog dogs with training are easier to walk, quieter at home, and calmer in public. But I don't just train dogs, I train people too. I teach dog owners how to be better, more responsible dog owners. I instruct them to pick up after their dogs on walks. I help them manage passing other people without letting their dog jump on strangers. I teach them how to play with their dogs appropriately so their dogs are properly exercised. I show them where they need to keep their dogs on leash and when and where they can allow their dogs a little more freedom. Through my training program, dogs and their owners become better citizens and happier families. Since the middle of 2019, I have maintained a wait list for my dog training services. While this wait list started with just 3 to 5 people, it exploded with the influx of pet dogs adopted during the 2020 quarantine. I now have a wait list that is 35 people long. If I continue to see clients one at a time, like I am now, it will take me 7 months to a year to get to the person currently at the end of my wait list. In order to help the most dogs most efficiently, I need to begin teaching group classes. I tried renting space in local pet stores to teach group classes, but the space was too small and we faced too many interruptions, which was inconvenient for both my clients and for the store and the people shopping at the store. I tried holding group classes in public parks, only to need to cancel classes due to air quality with the fires over the last couple of years, or rain, or to have someone else's off-leash dog come running in to harass my clients and their dogs. I came to the conclusion that I needed a training facility where I could teach classes indoors, no matter the weather, without interference from the general public. I'm planning on installing sound wall on the walls inside the building to prevent sound of dogs barking from exiting the building. The outdoor area, there's going to be a fenced in potty area only to make sure the dogs do not eliminate indoors or eliminate in an area where I cannot access to clean up after them. And I am planning on having no more than 4 dogs in the building at any given time for 1-hour training sessions. If I'm permitted to open my training facility at 41 Sims Street, I will be able to help 32 clients in the same amount of time that I would normally be able to help 6. That is an extra 26 dogs per month that will be able to walk around San Rafael, accompanying their owners at outdoor restaurants and in dog-friendly stores. That's an extra 26 owners per month who will learn to be conscientious and neighborly dog owners to the rest of the city of San Rafael and possibly more of Marin. Allowing Mary's Angels Dog Training Facility to open at 41 Sim Street, San Rafael will help your city, your people, and your animals flourish. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you. And now we will open for public comments. We'll start with those who are in person and then continue after with those who are online on Zoom. So anyone who would like to start?
Well, I hope I can be as eloquent as Mary. I've met Mary. Mary came around and visited all of the neighbors. We have been renting at 41.
Yourself first.
Oh, my name is Kimberly Chase, and I'm the co-founder of New Gen Surgical, which is a medical device company. We have been renting for 13 years at 41 Sims, Suite B, which is right next door to the proposed dog training. We would normally be on a supporter side, and I support Mary. We have dogs. We love dogs. But the fact is that we now rent two places, and we have a California Department of Agriculture certification. We have an FDA. We have on-site audits to get our ISO certification. I'm not a good public speaker. You can see by my shaky voice, so apologies, okay? I do well on Zoom though. So we have major medical companies from all over the world that come and meet with us, from Kaiser to Cardinal Health to Medline Health. We have them coming on Friday. It will not look clean. We get products in, but we don't manufacture there. We do get our prototypes. We do products that are specific for the OR, affecting millions of people worldwide because we're getting rid of plastic in medical healthcare supplies. So having companies come and visit us, we can't look like we're not a nail salon. We're not a business for local consumers. And we have very important people coming in all the time, either for an audit or for big meetings. The kind of impact it would have on the way our company looks, because the number one question we might get is, are you large enough to supply us? Like from a Cardinal Health, which is a Fortune 10 company who comes to visit us and is on our board of directors, which we also have meetings here. To think of having them walk by a dog training facility with a gated fence area right in the front walkway, it's in front of the walkway between our two offices, would really, from a public relations and from a point of view of creating sustainable medical products for the OR, where you can't have lint, little dust particles, but now we're gonna have dogs next door with hair, barking, urine, feces. I don't know, but I know that this will impact our business. And I hate that because Mary and I sat for an hour. Like, I don't like that. I don't like the landlord put us in this position. It's not zoned for this. And there are better places for dog training. The things that you brought up about going to the park or going here or going there, I feel badly for that. And I want your company to grow, but not at the detriment of, I've put 13 years and all of my money into trying to change the world with my company. And I can't have another business move in that could gravely impact these large companies questioning, well, what kind of company is this? I just can't. We would have to move, think about moving. I mean, it would gravely impact my business, and that's all I can say. And I thought long and hard about this because I met Mary. It had to be for an hour. I like Mary. I like what she does. We have dogs, but 13 years not being able to pay for my kids' college, putting every penny I have into this company. We're finally at a point where we have these huge companies coming to visit us. How could I let this happen? How could San Rafael let this happen? I rent there, 2 big spaces. I'm a growing San Rafael company. I have employees. And I'm so sorry, but this would gravely impact my business. It just would. I wish it wouldn't. I wish everybody would be like, oh, it's just dogs. But you should see the people I have coming in for the board. See the people coming in Friday from Vizient and Kaiser. Now this Friday, you're not going to be there. But in 2 months, maybe when Cardinal Health or Medline Health or Molenka comes in from Sweden, what does it look like? It looks like we're in some kind of a strip mall with all kinds of businesses. Whereas right now we're in a manufacturing type of business area. And this is right next door. literally where they have to walk by. They're gonna park and walk on the parking lot and see the dog training place, and even with the sound barriers, say we're a business that just did telephone work, or we were just administrative. Fine, especially with the soundproof walls, but we're not. We have people come to see us, we have audits, we're a medical device manufacturing company. That's what I can say about it. And they have very strict. I haven't looked into whether you can have dogs, but I do know that the OR is a highly clinical space. And it can't have a speck of anything or we'll lose the business.
May I add a little bit of information that I forgot to say earlier that may be helpful with this in response? So currently I see 20 clients in their homes per week. Well, I see clients for 20 hours per week, essentially, driving to their homes and helping them in their homes. My planned schedule will be to stop seeing 6 clients, 3 on the end or at the end of the day on Sunday and 3 at the end of the day on Tuesday, and to replace those 6 time slots with 8 1-hour group training sessions, because I won't need to be traveling between them. I can have more sessions per hour, essentially. And so I would only be utilizing the facility on Sundays afternoon between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. and Tuesdays afternoon between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. And I would
So we
hope
would
that
schedule around you.
yes, I would hope
So
that
it
with
changes how we even do our business, how I would have to look at my schedules and who's coming in and who can fly in. When do we have a stop by audit? We get ISO 13485 certified. And we have auditors come in and they look at everything. I just think that just the visual even of having dogs and having a fenced in area for them to go to the bathroom right in front of our office.
a locked fenced in area that only I can access and will.
It's a visual area of dogs going to the bathroom. I mean, this is where we create problems for. Inside the OR. And I can just say it would detrimentally affect our business and it kills me. I am sorry. But 13 years and every penny I own has gone into this. And if I'm gonna lose business because I am not at a zoning meeting that's gonna allow dog training in a business zoned area, I couldn't forgive myself and the board would have a lot of questions and we'd probably have to move. And I think that's very unfair to ask us. We've been a San Rafael business for 13 years. I have employees and I think this is just very unfair. And it's unfair because it affects us after meeting you and all of you supporters. We have dogs, we love dogs.
It seems, if
I see a raise, hand,
Raise.
sorry.
Thank you.
Sure.
I was, first of all, your challenges, but I do want to speak in support of Mary. It is a business. So it's not a strip mall business. She in Nevada, a parking pump is in a manufacturing business area. So they're not all around them is producing products, but it is a business. It's not a strip mall nail salon. So I think we should differentiate that. Second, did you bring any letters from the board members to say that this would be an impediment? Did you, do we have anything from the people that audit you that say that this is going to be an issue of having dog care within so far from your business? I mean, I get that it's a lot and I understand your angst, but it would be helpful to have some validation of it.
I think the other thing is,
I have a hand up before you, so.
oh, you go ahead,
It's
sure.
I'm Kirsten Wojcik. I'm a dog behavior consultant. There's such a need for this in Marin County. Marin Humane is the only place right now where people are able to work with dogs and get the support they need, and the classes are way booked out. I'm 8 weeks booked out, and I work with aggression. And so if I can do my part to help support people in the evenings after hours and learn about dog behavior, I feel like it's just going to make the community a better place. I'd also like to say that there's a CVS next to the kitty corner that's next to Pet Food Express. I mean, people don't not go to a drugstore because there's cats and dogs next door. I think we can't make the assumption that dogs are dirty and that people don't like dogs. And if there's a facility that needs special care for their products, then that's not really anything that I need to worry about or Mary needs to worry about. That's something that they have to figure out within their own corporation.
So putting extra
Yeah, I would like.
onus
I would
on
like to
us.
say a few words. So I've also been at that site for 13 years. I've seen some other businesses kind of come and go. It's always been a business related commercial, not that dog isn't a business, but it's been more retail or office or, the last tenant was an electric bike company, a startup company. So it's always been kind of professional businesses. There's really the issue of sound too, dogs. I have a dog and I love dogs. And I think there's a need. I recognize that there's a need in the market for what you're doing. It's just a matter of whether or not your business and fulfilling that need in this spot makes sense and whether it fits with what's traditionally been in there and how it's been zoned and the other businesses around it. My concern also is just the sound and barking, and it's the visual, but it's also, dogs are dogs. They're going to bark, they're going to see things, they're going to hear things, they're going to get excited around other dogs. You also mentioned that you're going to have basically 4 dogs at any one time in an hour, and then you have your next group come in.
Mhm.
So every hour, there's going to be 4 dogs coming and going.
So with a
in my-
15-minute buffer between classes.
Okay, but still there'll be, and then there's the outside area, which is just a visual kind of, it's not that the outside area is currently landscape ivy, basically, and then you have the sidewalk. I don't know how you're gonna put a fenced in area there for dogs going to the bathroom, but it will definitely be something that everybody needs to walk by, either on the sidewalk or going from office to office. So the sound to me is, even with the sound barrier, I'm concerned that there would just be, it would be very hard to do business in that space with dogs barking. Now, Aiden has worked in that space with us. He's with our company. And the next door neighbor that has a space on the opposite side, also the other adjacent wall,
Mhm.
she's had her dogs in there and they have a contracting business, WCBS. And sometimes she'll put her dogs in there. And I know Aiden can speak to this, but it's very difficult to get any work done when the dogs are next door, just in terms of barking and noise making. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it's just very distracting and hard to have a Zoom call. The dogs are barking right through the wall.
But that's not a soundproof wall, right? She's putting some.
I think.
There's the Urban Remedy, which has a soundproof dog training facility, not even sharing a wall, and he says it's constant noise.
That doesn't care. They care, we're sharing about trainings.
Yeah, then the training facility will have the owners present for every, there's going to be at least one owner, if not multiple owners. Often I work with families that will be present with every dog. And so it will be 2+ people per dog.
And I just want to finish my.
Yeah.
So that space has traditionally not, this would be a major deviation from what has been in that space, or at least over the last 11 years. And I think that there needs to be a place for businesses like yours. And I kind of feel bad that we're having this conversation because it does feel a little bit like, not my backyard, but
We're the bad guys.
yeah, but so I do think that there should be a space that makes sense for having dogs and dog training. It would be a major deviation for this particular building, for what's been there, and for the offices that are adjacent to it that are I guess more professional related. There's nothing like a dog training thing in that space.
Okay.
In that area.
I'm gonna have you speak first, and from here on out, let's just do whoever hasn't spoke and speak first, and then we can move on to those who are online as well.
Hi, so my name is Heidi Perry. I'm also a dog trainer. I have been a dog training assistant over at Marin Humane, so I'm familiar with the class kind of dynamic. I also have worked in huge doggy daycares. I wanted to bring up the point that you have no idea the amount of sanitation that goes on in these buildings, even if it's a training, if it is dog daycare. After each class, we are sanitizing the heck out of everything. We have to. I mean, there is,
And what kind of chemicals do you use to sanitize?
I am currently looking for some greener alternatives and talking with other facilities that are using less harsh chemicals, because I don't want to expose my clients' dogs who are walking on their bare paws to harsh chemicals. But I also want to get the job done. So I'm researching enzymatic cleaners. Enzymatic cleaners break down dog urine to the point that even dogs can't smell it anymore. So that they do not then think that it's okay to pee there again in the same spot.
Is this for outside?
This is for inside currently. I'm also looking into the best substrate for the outside area that will be easy to maintain because there's no hose hookup, so it can't be grass, but also will cut down on any sort of smell. I'm currently looking into different kinds of wood chip options that will allow us to easily remove solid waste.
Right there when we
And-
our products.
Uh,
Well, I just don't think you understand how our business works and.
but she needs to finish her sentence.
So I'm looking into wood chip options that will allow us to remove solid waste as well as rake over and bury liquid waste in a way that will prevent scent or sight from being unseemly or to build up in the area. That was my concern. I was originally looking at gravel, but gravel tends to hold scent a lot better than wood chips does. And so I'm looking into my different kinds of wood chip options that will be safe for dogs to walk on without getting splinters, as well as effective in controlling and sanitizing waste.
Okay, were you ready to stop speaking?
Well, there's also the thing of the soundproofing. There is a huge difference between a dog training classroom and a doggy daycare with, say, 70 dogs in it, which I've worked in, and yeah, that's no fun. But a training facility, especially in Marin Humane, when we have had dogs that are over threshold and barking at everything, we've actually asked people to remove the dogs and go home for the day. A dog's not going to learn when they're in a high aroused state like that. We tried to keep things as quiet as possible there.
And then I think you had your hand up next.
Oh, no, she said exactly what I was gonna say.
Alrighty, and then so now will go online. So I see that Michelle online has her hand up, so I will, Michelle, if you're unmuted, so if you wish to speak, you may speak. Michelle, can you hear us?
Yeah. Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you, yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I wanted to echo a lot of what I have heard already. I am a certified professional dog trainer and dog behavior consultant, and I also used to teach at Marin Humane. So I concur with what's been said already, is that in order for dogs to learn, it needs to be a calm environment so that the brain can process new information. And so one of the things that Mary is excellent at, and I know this firsthand because I've worked with her both, she's helped me with my dogs, etc., is that Mary is a very calm person, and she is really skilled at helping dogs to also be calm, which is why she's so good at helping dogs who tend to be timid and fearful. And so I agree that if the environment is really stressful, that learning can't take place, and that we then set up visual barriers, et cetera, so that those dogs can feel safer. So I just wanted to speak to that in a class with 4 dogs, it's really quite unlikely that there will be much noise. So I wanted to say that. I also wanted to say that where your facility is currently, anybody can walk through as far as I can tell. And so you're talking about your concern about cleanliness for your products, which I understand and respect. But if I was on a dog walk in your neighborhood and I wanted to walk through your buildings, my dog could potty right outside your building. My dogs can go to the bathroom wherever they want. And I, of course, clean up. But Mary is offering a more structured environment like that. So actually you're having less space for the public to just walk through and use the potty in your business area. Additionally, you were talking about Ivy, and I was a biology teacher. I studied biology in college, and I know firsthand that Ivy tends to be a pretty prolific rat habitat. And so I know that you're concerned about adding dogs and restricting the cleanliness of the outside perceived area of your spot. But I actually think that as it currently stands, you don't have control of that anyway. And by adding Mary to that facility, you're adding a lot more control because she's such an attentive person. So the other thing too is that only you can control what happens on the inside of your facility and how much dirt and hair. If you have dogs of your own, you're likely tracking in dog hair on your clothes and on your shoes unless you clean that. So I do think that you can set things up so that your facility, so that you have for example, if there are germs. So I helped with people breeding service dogs, and we always cleaned our shoes before we went into the building. We had little bleach trays and we would step in those. And there are things like that that you probably could be or should be doing anyway, if cleanliness is such an important part of your work, because there are literally rats in that Ivy, I guarantee you. And I know that Mary is such an attentive person that I am sure that she will do everything in her power to limit the mess and the noise that you could experience, because I could bring barking dogs just on a dog walk through your neighborhood anyway. And there's, no restrictions on that. So thank you for listening, and thanks for considering Mary. She'd be a true asset to the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michelle, for that comment. I think there was another raised hand.
I think it was Allison.
Allison, okay. Okay, Allison, you're unmuted.
Hello, I'm Allison. I also work at the office next door at New Gen Surgical, and I was just wondering if you guys are pretty familiar with the area in terms of just what goes on and around that area. I also love dogs. I have 2 puppies. I'm sitting with them right now, but I do know that around our offices, there's a lot of construction that happens, and there's a lot of trucks and a lot of people driving by, and then the business across from us, WCBS, has constant pallets being loaded on, trucks being unloaded. And I just want to know if you think that's a suitable environment to have a dog training with just all this industrial work happening around you guys.
May I respond? Yeah, so one of the things that is most helpful with teaching dogs not to bark is to expose puppies at a young age to as many sights, sounds, and smells as possible. So having that construction and the things going on nearby is actually a benefit, because it creates more with structured training associated with those sights, sounds, and smells. It can actually create more stable, bomb-proof, less likely to react dogs. When I used to work in a veterinary hospital, we had a client who had a border collie who was walking down the street, and a motorcycle revved next to the border collie, and the border collie panicked and ran in front of the motorcycle, dragging the owner with them, and both the border collie and the owner were hit. Thankfully, both survived the accident, and so did the motorcycle driver, who also had some serious injuries. But if through a structured puppy class, that border collie had been exposed to such loud sounds or startling sudden sounds at an earlier age, then that incident may not have happened. And all the dog, the owner, and the motorcycle driver may have all been uninjured if that had not happened.
Allison, do you still have any more comments?
So you guys are planning to take out the ivy and put grass and a fence in, because there's also a sign that has all the business names right in that ivy area. So I'm wondering what you're planning to do with the signs,
Yeah.
the business names, because
I know exactly what you're talking about. And so the plan is to put in a 6 foot by 6 foot area that is fenced in behind the sign and up against the walkway directly in front of the front door of the proposed business location, unit C of 41 Sims. And so then it would be easy. There will be a gate there that I will lock during my off hours so that the public does not come and leave messes from their dogs. It will be no more than 4 feet high. It will be 6 foot by 6 foot square with a gate up against the sidewalk on one side. That will then be unlocked during my business hours. Clients will have access to go in, and it will be several feet actually from the signs, and it will only be that section of ivy that will be removed.
okay, I have no further comments.
Okay,
Thank you,
Allison,
Allison.
for your comment. Is there anyone else online wishing to speak about the item? Seeing no raised hands?
One just ending comment, because we're both doing something to do well for the world.
Mhm.
You're all here because you want to help people train dogs for public, for families, for all of that. We're doing the same. Eliminating plastic products that kill millions of people worldwide.
Mhm.
My only point about this is we've done a lot talking about what you're going to do with sound and this and that, all to make it so that this office business space
It's more peaceful for the
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And it all sounds great, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it will affect our business that's been there for 13 years. And I didn't think I had to come with proof from our board or from the FDA, because I'm not the one asking to make a zone change. If I have to defend myself in that way and get board letters or USDA letters, but the biologist on there was saying, well, maybe you can do this or do that. It will change the way we do business. It will change when we schedule meetings. We're there at night. I have Zoom meetings in Asia, Europe, Scandinavia. It will change the way we do business that we've been doing for 13 years and employing people in San Rafael for 13 years. I can't say anything. You can all say that it will be fenced in and it's going to be this and that. It still will affect our business. It just will, even with the wood chips, what I was going to say, and I'm sorry I interrupted you to bring that point up. It's just that particulates and materials
Mhm.
are actually, I thought Kyle would step in here, he's our materials engineer. Even walking, so, and someone else mentioned a public space that dogs could walk through. It's really not a public space. There's a walkway between the two offices, and then there's a sidewalk, public space. So even walking from my one office to my engineering office with my products and having any wood chip or like, that's why I asked about chemicals. These are things we have to test for all sorts of things for products that are going into the OR. And this is just for testing purposes, not for the actual product, because our manufacturing is done somewhere else, but testing for prototyping and what does it need to do and how does it need to behave and what materials do we need to bring in. So now we have to add a bunch of other factors in there that could be possibilities of where a problem came from. Either it's a chemical or a piece of wood or anything. So I would say that secondary to the fact that our business is right next door and our walkway to our engineering goes right by yours. So even 4 dogs coming in every hour, they have to park in the parking lot. They'll be walking all around with either our board members or a Cardinal Health or Medline Health, and it just will affect our business. And if I need to get notes, I will.
I had another comment, and so one of my concerns is obviously the sound and just being able to have conversation and do business. The other is you brought up the fact that after each dog group comes through that you do a lot of sanitizing and cleaning. One of the things that we've noticed over the years is that whenever there's anything going on in another part of the building, in terms of somebody could be using cleaning or smoking or anything like that, that whole building, that we all share the same common space,
Ventilation.
air, ventilation. And there's been times when there were noxious fumes being, they were doing something in the next building where we basically couldn't even work because it's all commingled in one, you're in one building together. And so there is sure, you could put in sound barriers to muffle dog barking, but there would also need to be some sort of separate ventilation if there's cleaning going on every time, because a lot of people are sensitive to cleaning agents. And I just know from past experience, whatever goes on, any of the next things, you smell it immediately. It just comes right in. So that's another big concern that I would have. And we've had that issue in that building and also in the adjacent building where we have another office where people next door are working, either some sort of volatile compounds or cleaning agents, and it's just unbearable. So I would say that that's probably something that would have to be addressed as well.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
I just wonder how many businesses are open Sunday evening that would be around the facility. Talking about a very small window of time, 2 evenings. Sunday's generally not a work day. It's not like she's asking for 5 days a week during normal business hours, and I think that's important.
Can I answer that? I do work Sunday evenings. I work 7 days a week. I'm a co-founder of a company. And I do have Zoom calls with Asia because it's Monday for them. So, and I don't work remotely or from home. So we do work evenings.
Can I ask a question, a follow-up question to that?
Sure.
Do you have your clients coming in on Sundays as well?
No, no.
So so what you're talking about is just these 2 Sunday and Tuesday evening,
Afternoons, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
1 to 6. And so what happens with the space in all those other times?
So it will be closed because I will be doing private lessons in clients' homes during those times, which is what the majority of what my business has been so far. And that's still necessary. I work with a lot of shy and fearful dogs that sometimes take 4, 6, 8 weeks before the dog will even let me touch it, or take a treat from my hand because they are so fearful of people. And those kind of dogs can't be in a training facility. They need to be helped in their owners' homes to be able to feel safe. And after they've gone through basically canine therapy through my training program for a certain amount of time, then they could start to join group training classes if they are up to it. Not every dog is up to group training classes, and those ones I still want to be able to help and serve.
Is there anything that would, if you're saying it's just these 2 time slots, but it's once you got your approval and use permit, is there anything that would prevent you from using that from all day long and utilizing that space as a dog training facility?
I do not believe so, but
Right.
that's what that's my current plan, is to do it for that amount of time. And maybe occasionally have seminars with veterinarians or veterinary staff that do not involve dogs, but are just like introducing them to the training concept and how they can use that in their own offices. Have you guys worked with veterinarians at all? Because you're medical supply, right?
Not really.
That might be helpful to you guys to have veterinarians walking past. Veterinarians are always looking for green options for medical supplies.
Mary, may I ask you a logistical question?
Yes.
On Tuesdays, it sounds short, 1 to 7. you
1 to
said?
6.
But you have 4 dogs every hour
Yes, with a
So it's
15-minute
20
in
dogs.
between.
during that time.
Yes,
Coming in and out from the parking lot, walking up the walkway.
yes. It would be 4 1-hour sessions. Each session has 4 dogs in it. 15 minutes in between each session.
So
And then I would be cleaning up for a while afterwards to make sure that everything was sanitized before I left for until Sunday.
after you came to the office,
Mhm.
I felt very close, like you're just such a wonderful person,
Thank
and very warm. And I'm sorry if I interrupted anybody or it came off pretty hard. Everyone seems, really passionate about your business, like we have people who are passionate about our business. And I went to the whole staff and said, look, guys, what can we do here?
Mhm.
I wanted to make it work. We did a lot of thought about it. We went through things. It's going to affect our business. And that's just the bottom line about it. And we feel terrible about it. But that's the way the whole staff feels in my company. Even after you came and I went to everybody and really said, how can we make this work? What will this affect? And I wouldn't want to hurt your business. I know you don't want to hurt other people's businesses, but there's nothing for us to say. We've been there 13 years and we plan on being there for a long time. That you wouldn't extend me on the Tuesday. We have to think about everything, all contingencies and the changes we would have to make to our business.
Can I ask just from a zoning
Put her hand up
perspective?
before you started. She's been waiting.
Who's that?
Michelle's hand has been up.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Thank you. Good eye.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can now.
Okay, thanks. I want to say just a couple of things. As much as we would love to, we don't live in a bubble. And so I think that businesses are impacted by the world in general. They're impacted by sounds outside and construction. The other person that came on earlier was saying that trucks are going by and pallets are being dropped off, and all of these things are creating fibers and noise and potential pollution. So those things also can impact the sound on your Zoom calls, just like a tree trimmer would if I was working from home, right? So the idea that Mary is being so thoughtful about limiting the hours in which she is overlapping other existing businesses, I just think is so incredibly respectful. And also, I just like to say that to the gentleman who was speaking about the shared air system, you're saying basically that other people are already impacting you because somebody could choose to smoke a cigarette, which then comes in and pollutes your work environment, or they use some weird cleaning chemical that pollutes your work environment. So these things are already happening. And I think you'd be so blessed to have someone who is as considerate as Mary, because she would never do those kinds of things. So messes are cleaned up immediately. There's lots of options for how to clean in ways that aren't releasing volatile compounds. So I just wanted to say, I get that you've been doing business for a really long time there. And I kudos to you for sinking your passion and money into that, but you're not going to be able to control every other tenant that will be part of that business facility. It's out of your control. And if you wanted to, then you would have your own building and it would be separate and there wouldn't be neighbors and there wouldn't be other people sharing your ventilation or your walls or your walkways. I think you would all be blessed to have somebody like Mary who's so thoughtful. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your
Can I
comment.
respond to that?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay,
That's not, that's not a true statement that you can't control what goes on in that building, because we do have rights for clean air and rights for not a noisy environment. And you go and talk to the tenant, you figure out where is that smell coming from that is, is so noxious and smell. And you go, you talk to that tenant, say, hey, you can't be spray painting in here because we're all smelling this, and you can talk to the landlord. And so we do have control over our work environment. We don't have control over what happens across the street or if a truck drives by, or, yeah, those are things that we can't control. But we work in a common space. It's a common space environment. I know that a couple of you have referenced the Marin Humane Society and the training facility up there. I've been up there before, and that's a separate facility. It's a separate standalone unit with an outside area. It's almost like a little gym where they bring the dogs to train them. So it's not a shared space with other workers or people. And I think that's what we have to remember, is that building has multiple units in it under one roof, and it's all the same ventilation. Everybody is impacted by each other. So there is an opportunity to, that's why we're here today, is to talk about that and talk about that impact. And it is something that we control. I wanted to ask, from a zoning perspective, what are you proposing? What is the current zone for the building? And what are you proposing?
this is not a zoning change.
Okay.
This is just the use is permitted as long as they get a conditional use permit. So that's what we're hearing. So,
Okay.
but yes, it's not a zone change. Yeah. And then as far as your question about limiting hours, I mean, it's if Mary agreed to it, we can add restrictions on days and hours as a part of the approval process if we were to approve the use permit for this. But that's something that we can all discuss because we wouldn't want to restrict somebody's business from expanding if we did decide that this site is suitable for the use. So that's something that's all discussed. But yes, hours and days can be restricted on a use permit. You can add conditions if you're concerned about ventilation. We can discuss adding, like one of those air filters, commercial air filters, buying those if you believe that can reduce the impact. But yes, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I did enjoy our talk the other day as well, when we spent that hour talking to each other. And I was just wondering what cleaning protocols you're using when you're bringing your 13-year-old beagle into your office after what you
Right.
told me that you did.
Yeah, I said we have,
yeah.
and we don't allow any dogs anymore
Mhm.
because of the concerns that we had. But there was a time, and I said that to let you know that we're not against, there are people who don't like dogs, don't like cats. And I told you that so that you would know that we understand and
Right.
love dogs.
Yeah.
But Penny hasn't been in, I don't know when the last time, years. Because of that, it took us 5 years to develop our first
Mhm.
product. Our first real multiple product and growth of the company has just started in the past 3 years. And things had to change, and we opened a new engineering office within the same building units under the same landlord. But before that, we were a small LLC, all trying to figure out what materials, what products, what this, what that, and it was a more casual. I brought my 3 sons in, toddling in. One of them designed our logo. It was a much more casual business.
Mhm.
Now we're very serious, certified, FDA, ISO regulated business, and we're a C Corp because of our investors and our board, and we're growing. So we have to take things more seriously. So Penny does not come in the office at right now, and
I was asking so that I could try and find a commonality with using a cleaning product or cleaning protocol that you've already approved for your business.
I appreciate that so much. We brought Penny in, I don't even know when it was, but then we realized we had to let, if one for one is good for all. And one of the people brought their very big, hairy, slobbering, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't have this. Can't have it. So now no dogs are allowed.
Can I understand a little bit more about your business?
Yeah.
So is there a cleaning protocol to operate your business, in producing medical devices?
So we're not
Yeah.
producing and manufacturing on the
Okay.
site. What we do is we get samples, we get products for approval from our manufacturers. We get we send out from the office that's right next door to where Mary would be. We send out all of our sample packs of the products that go to Dignity Health or UCSF, putting the products there. So we do keep product there, but we don't manufacture on site.
Okay.
And our cleaning protocol, yes, we've had full days where I'll have a whole team in that wear the blue and the nets, and we're going through products and we're wiping and we're stacking.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's a cleaning protocol, and everything is wiped down before that. Because the main concern for OR products anyway is particulate.
And how often is that conducted? How often does that have to be done?
I couldn't say how often it's going to happen. So far, we've had that happen maybe 3 times. But again, we've only gone into high manufacturing and multiple product lines. And I think since 2018, because it took us a good 5 years to come up with an upcycled waste material that could withstand sterilization to be used in the OR. And then we started developing all of our products. And now we have 6 products and we'll be
How far
launching 3 more
sorry.
products.
How far in advance do you know that you're going to be doing one of those full cleaning days?
Well, I'll tell you the type of person I am. We were gonna have products
Mhm.
that were due to our largest customer,
Mhm.
our very first order.
Mhm.
And they came in full of particulates. And the whole team said, it was due 2 days later. And I hired a bunch of people, got all of the gear, and I said, nobody's leaving. And I had a truck come with all of that stuff and a truck waiting to drive to Texas with it to keep that. So things happen like that. So I couldn't say how often. It's, as needed. It's not daily. And
But if we had a communication,
Yeah.
would you be able to tell me, ahead of time? And maybe if we had a friendly communication, I might be able to, if I was going to have classes that day, email my clients ahead of time and cancel those classes or reschedule those classes as needed.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mary, I don't doubt that it would be friendly. I'm just saying that's gonna make our business harder and will affect our business. It's just, that's really just the way it is.
Okay, so we're at 11:01 now. Do we have any more comments from anyone in this room? Okay, and do we have any more comments from anyone in Zoom? Okay, so I think that we've heard everything. We heard all of your concerns. We've heard your presentation and heard from everyone here. And so we won't make a decision right now because we do have to hold another hearing at 7, just in case anyone else has more comments. And so we need to listen to those. And then we'll consider everyone's comments and then make a decision and send that out.
Will the 7 o'clock meeting be using the same Zoom address, and will it still be here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Kayla, do you have anything more to say? I guess, so when we do make a decision, we don't know what that decision would be yet. But any decision that we make can be appealed, and it has to be appealed within 5 business days. And then so you would just email Michaela and let her know if you wish to make an appeal. But we'll say the same thing at the Zoom meeting once we make a decision. And if we can get everyone's contact information.
Yeah.
Here, who wishes to know our decision, we can let you know and send that out to you.
Okay.
May I ask just one ending
Sure.
question? Do you have pictures
Of
of how these offices are and the walkway between my office and our engineering office
I
and
mean,
where this?
We have plans.
yes, like
Okay.
floor plan,
Yeah.
usually require.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of the outdoor area.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's it. The meeting is closed and
Thank you.
we will be in touch about our decision.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone
Thank
for
you.
attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who do we give contact? I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be contacted about this. But somebody else to know who do they go to?
Make sure you get, yeah. Can I make copies of those?
You can have it.
Whoever wants to be contacted can put their name on this piece of paper here, name and email. And then I'll send out an email.
It's just more of a.
Anyway, here's a pen.
And I will be looking into today I think you had a good point with the board and the California Food and Drug Administration and our ISO certification, like what those entail.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I understand. I know your concern about how it may impact your business. So it would be good to know how your business is regulated and how this business may impact your business.
What are we putting this down for?
Just to be
Contact
notified,
information.
yeah, just to be notified. Yes, no, thank you for coming in. So you work in separate offices?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. And then so
we
you're,
kill each
so
other.
your
We're
concern
married
is,
and started the company together.
your concern and is sanitation, you're worried that there are particles that would make its way.
Yeah, it was just one
into-
because people were starting to bring those issues up. My larger concern when I went to the team
Yeah.
is we're really just about to, after 13 years, and I'm not kidding, we live paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
We're putting millions into this
Yeah,
company. We're
yeah.
just about to take off.
Mhm, mhm,
And even this Friday, the kind of work that we had to do because we have very big people flying in.
mhm.
I couldn't even imagine them walking by, like, wonder if it happened when 4 dogs were being transferred or it says something.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of how life is.
Mhm.
But I'm not against all of these people and I feel
Mhm.
terrible being put in that spot by our landlord.
Okay, so the sanitation and then also.
We
you're
share
concerned about
ventilation.
noise, Ventilation.
So a dog pees, we're gonna smell it.
Well, ventilation's a big deal because it's something about that building,
Mhm.
whenever there's anything going on in one of the other offices, whether, it's somebody having a cigarette or it just comes right in. It's just, I don't know what it is.
Control factor. And I felt bad about all of that because, that doesn't mean that this is still okay because trucks drive by now. Okay, well then that means dogs can. I don't correlate the two. And after meeting with Mary, this was very difficult. I really like her.
Yeah.
And we're both trying to do good for the world,
Mhm. Yeah.
but I can just tell you, I mean, we've been employing people in San Rafael and renting in San Rafael. Our business is incorporated in San Rafael for a long time. And we literally have put every penny in this business. And if I feel like this is going to impact that, sure, can we plan around it? Like, okay, everybody, no meetings on Tuesdays.
Mhm.
I don't care if Kaiser's in town. I don't care if that's when they're available. It will impact our business.
Mhm.
Do I have to work Sunday nights? Well, I'll take my Zoom call in Asia. I don't.
So even if like we place the limitation like Sundays and Tuesdays, you believe that it still wouldn't work. And then adding, having them add an extra, standalone air filtration.
I think the
unit.
thing
Yeah.
is, once they're
Uh-huh.
in, I would find it very hard to believe that you would pay for that space and have that
Mhm.
overhead of that space without, and use it only,
2 days out of the week.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's so like, once you're in,
Mhm.
then you're gonna make use of that, right? You're
Mhm.
gonna have people, so I would, I find that hard to believe that it would just be those
Mhm.
two time slots.
Yeah.
Right, that we could work around, that it
Mhm.
would be kind of all the time.
Mhm.
And, or let somebody else use it, because it's a space,
Mhm.
and it doesn't really make sense to have a
Yeah,
space that you're paying for not be
Mhm.
and
utilized.
impressions mean something. The whole
But,
outdoor training and fee area, it's right in the walkway.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like literally right there and near our sign.
Mhm.
So you pull up to a business and you already know you're going to be taking a chance on a small business to
Mhm.
supply 1 million products for your OR across the country. And now your first impression is there's a dog training area and it means something. Otherwise you wouldn't have public relations firms. I mean, it just means something
Okay.
to us for our growth. But
Okay,
do I hate saying all that? Do I hate like this is going on? I'm upset at our landlord even thinking it's a possibility. for
Okay.
us.
no, we hear you, like, thank you for attending the meeting, we understand your concerns, and so we'll have another meeting, and we'll listen to, everyone else's comments, and then we'll
Yeah.
be in touch and let you all know.
thank you.
What we
What is,
decide.
and tell me your name again.
My name is Monica, and this is
Monica.
Michaela.
Monica and Michaela, okay. And your what is your official role?
I'm the senior planner here.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
all right,
The big-
well,
Um,
yeah.
But, yeah.
I
This is
grew
a
up in-
tough
I grew
one.
up in Santa Fe, and we want the city to do well and have
Mhm.
good businesses here and thrive. And so it's a tough one for us, but
Yes.
the dogs are just unpredictable, and the noise and the smell and all that stuff, and being in that confined space.
We made the
it's tough.
decision to stay in Center Fell.
Yeah.
We love Center Fell. We expanded into a second office rather